So I've been a Christian my whole life, and I've gone to church ever since I was a little kid. I got dedicated in the church, I got baptized. I've always believed in God, and I've always been a Christian. After one youth camp, I ended up receiving the gift of tongues, which was pretty cool. But for some reason, I was still just going through the motions. It was around 10th grade to 11th grade, I ended up going out with this guy from church. And I thought like it was crazy cool because, he's from church. He loves God. We go to the same church. We go to youth group together. Like, it was awesome. Like, this was a God-given boyfriend. Ever since then, I was really focused on my boyfriend. I didn't really realize that basically he was my whole world. Like, everything revolved around him. My priority was him. Going to church was to see my boyfriend. That relationship lasted for about 2.5 years. Throughout the relationship, the first year was awesome, it was great. Second year went by, it was still going good. Around the 2.5 year mark was when things started to get more rocky. Like I said, I got really distant from God ever since I started going out with this guy, even though he was from church. Like, he pulled me so far away, and I let myself go really far away from where I should have been. Things between him and I, it was just terrible. I remember him and I would always fight. There'd be times where I'd be crying all night, and our relationship wasn't based around God. God wasn't the center, even though it should be. So after those 2.5 years, that guy broke up with me because he said he didn't love me anymore. I was really heartbroken. Even though that relationship led me so far away from God, and it took me through so many different things, I still really had a real connection with him. And so once he broke up with me, it totally broke me. I ended up blaming God. I got mad at him, and I got really angry, and I started questioning him, and I was like, why would you bring someone into my life when you knew I was going to get this attached to him, and then yet still take him away from me? Why would you do that? Why would you allow this hurt to happen to me? And during that time is when I started pushing myself even farther away from God. I had friends who don't necessarily believe in God the way that I have had my whole life, and I just hung out with them to make myself feel better. I would go to church, but I would just be going through the motions. I would just be there just to be there because my family was there. It wasn't necessarily for me. It wasn't helping me or anything, because I didn't want anything to do with it at that moment, because I was just too sad and too stuck in my sorrows to just even be myself. After that moment, for some reason, some way, somehow, I had a revelation. I was like, wait a minute. I think that God did this for a reason. That maybe some reason, maybe somehow, that he knew down the road that if my boyfriend back then and I stayed together, that we would be just who knows what, who knows where, in some kind of crazy situation. And I heard God he just sent a peace over me, and it was amazing. And usually people have breakups, and especially when it's a 2.5 year relationship, it takes like 6 months to get over someone, or a year, or a couple years to get over someone. But I got over that relationship within like 3 months, and I was okay, and I was completely whole. And that was only because God gave me that peace and that love, and he was telling me that it's going to be okay, that I did this for a reason, that I have a reason for you, that the reason that I took that guy out of your life because he wasn't the right one for you, because I have someone better in store for you. And that's when I finally got my life back together, and because of that, like, I am who I am today, and I'm really thankful. And I don't know why I'm crying, because this happened over a year ago, but God's grace is just so good, because no matter what has happened in my past and how much hurt I've been through, that even coming out of that relationship, even after hating him and being really angry and really mad with everything and blaming him for just ruining my life, that he still loved me. And that's what's amazing. I came out of that relationship a changed person. That even though I've been a Christian my whole life, it wasn't until then that I finally understood what it meant to be a child of God, and that was when I finally realized who he is and how much he loves me. Like, nothing can take you away from his love, nothing.